For your help, guys.
We're live streaming. Good afternoon, Aaron.
Adam.
How's it going?
I'm very well, mate. How are you?
Very well, thank. Very excited. Very excited. That was a fantastic pitch today.
Hey, it was nothing compared to the introduction. That guy. Whew.
I did what I could.
Look at him. Look at him go. It was awesome.
Before we get going, I think just to kick off things, I think we'll just do a quick intro. So I'll introduce myself first and then hand it over to yourself. And then we'll get into the nuts and bolts of Trendii and what you're doing and the exciting journey you've been on and where you're going. So I'll start with myself, like I said. So Adam Crowe, good afternoon, everyone. I'm a client engagement principal with Trendiis, and Trendiis are one of the partners that work very closely with Startup Bootcamp, and we've been heavily involved in the sports and EventTech accelerator program this year, which has been very exciting. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Aaron. Aaron, do you want to kick things off, just introducing yourself and Trendii?
Definitely do, but I just got to take something for social media quickly. There we go.
Always working.
Always working. I'm Aaron. I'm the CEO, founder, whatever you want to call it, of Trendii. I launched Trendii as originally as a peer-to-peer product recommendation business. So a bit of the background. My background is really in the retail marketing space. My vision was to create a world where retailers didn't have to spend all their money acquiring customers, because let's be honest, people want to shop. Why have you got to pay all this money to try and get them in? So what I wanted to do is create a world where everybody was essentially an affiliate or an advertising billboard for a brand, because let's be honest, we're the ones who wear the clothes, we're the ones walking around in the public, we're the ones out there doing the advertising. So I created a product which allowed me to recommend products to my friends, and then take it on a bit of a journey 2 years forward, and we're where we are today. We've created an automated product recommendation business that uses some pretty cool tech to allow you to shop without friction, essentially. So yeah, but yeah, my background's all in the marketing space. I'm obviously very excited to be here today to talk about what we're up to.
Yeah, terrific. So that point of inspiration, that's something that you've seen emerged over time, and with the digital technology that everyone's got their hands on, that makes it a bit more of an opportunity that you saw in the market, that you saw where bringing people and brands closer together at that point of inspiration. That's a really key call out from your perspective.
Yeah, look, I mean, we as consumers are inspired by the same things now that we've been inspired by for hundreds of years. I mean, the notion of celebrity has perhaps changed a little, in the sense that they're no longer kings and queens, then to film stars and now influencers and other things. But ultimately, the concept of celebrity is essentially anyone famous that in the entertainment or sports industry, right? So what we're doing is we're allowing you to be inspired and then transact what inspires you. There has been a lot of things created to make it easier for you to find what to find what you're looking for. So, I mean, as an example, historically we would have asked people, or we would have just bought things that we knew people were wearing, but Google was invented, and 25 years later we're still searching. Yeah. So I think it's time that something new came along and helped you sort of get what you're looking for a bit faster.
Just before I go into the next one, I just have to mention that there is the Q&A portal is not working at the moment. So this is an opportunity there's still the opportunity, of course, to get in contact with Aaron through a number of different means, email and looking up Trendii.com on the website and getting connected that way. So just bear with us as we get that working through that. But just touching on that influence side of things. So there's a couple of different ways people get influenced. You mentioned a couple of things there, but there's celebrity looks, trending products, and style inspirations. Is that kind of like a hierarchy that people sort of go through? What do you want to just sort of talk through what those sort of three key things are? The celebrity looks, trending products, and the style inspirations. How do they influence consumers when they shop?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good question. I mean, fundamentally, everything we buy is influenced by celebrity, right? So I mean, often we buy clothing just because of necessity, but the things we buy because we want them are generally bought by because they are things that other people have bought or people we admire have bought. So for us, it makes absolute sense to have the functionality and enable you to do that without friction. What we are really trying to understand, though, is how influential, right? So our entire vision for Trendii is to really put some, democratize this space and actually enable brands to be more targeted with how they sort of approach their influencer campaigns as well. So a few different things that we're looking after in that space, but fundamentally, celebrities make the fashion, right? They inspire styles and looks and runways and all sorts of other things, and they also wear the products. So.
Yeah, and the people they're influencing, like the market that you're targeting. That you want to talk about your market and who they are and how they've come to see Trendii in the way they shop now.
Yeah, look, I mean, people are trying to. It's really interesting. I mean, it's almost like they've created these hacks. I mean, modern consumers are wily, savvy, sophisticated tech, people, right? They've been on devices since they were, very young. They know what they're doing. They know how it all works, and they're very, very aware of themselves online, right? There's no longer this kind of anonymity that they felt. They're very aware that they are the person online. They are doing what they're doing. So the notion of them still having to struggle to find makes no sense, right? You don't have to search for music. Spotify finds it for you, right? It tells you what you like, right? You don't need to search for content on Instagram. Instagram knows the images that you like. Why do we still have to look using words for products? So they've created a few hacks. It's quite interesting. So you sort of have a conversation with younger online shoppers, who is really where Trendii is aiming, and the product, they've sort of created workarounds, which I find staggering, right? So they've got one visual search technology over here, and then they've got a database of images they save here, and then they share all of these in a Facebook chat, and then they talk to each other, and then they do reverse image searches to find websites with images. And it's like that whole process is something they've created to solve the problem they've got. And as far as I can see, that's a zeitgeist, right? If you've got people doing something like that in spite of the fact that it's painful to do, then there's an opportunity. So yeah.
I think you're right in that expectation. The generation that you're talking about have grown up with the digital world at their fingertips, where the expectation is, well, it's a click away. So why make it?
Yeah, totally. I mean, they want everything immediately, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Why should you have to wait? Why should it take a long time? This whole notion of, oh, you've got to learn it, you've got to wait, you've got to take your time. Why? Why do you need to? You don't need to have lots of everything. You can just be able to get it when you want it. You shouldn't have to, spend a whole heap of time trying to figure out where you can buy it or struggle. So yeah, we want to, basically help them get to the products they want to buy faster, or at least get them to similar at different price points. I think one of the fundamental parts of all of this is really about letting you choose, right? So a lot of brands sell products at prices beyond people's means. So what if you want something similar? That's really where Trendii starts to stretch its legs. You can get a jacket that should cost $1,000, but you can get a version for say $150, and then get a similar sort of look. And again, you've got brands like Kmart that are doing sort of Kmart hacks and look hacks, and influencers are creating these similar but cheaper kind of looks. There's a lot of people out there trying to do a similar thing, and I think automating it and making it very simple for everyone to do is only going to benefit everyone.
Yeah, that's a really key point. You're mentioning choice, and I think it's that utility of choice, right? Being able to just do it at the moment of inspiration. Coming back to that point again.
Yeah, I mean, look, the inspiration is ultimately, we're a big believer in really good content, and obviously we want to empower creators and publishers. In fact, part of our product is all about helping publishers generate further revenue from their content anyway. But we're very mindful that they're the folk, they're key to all of this. Right? We don't create content. We empower content to be more than it is. Right. So what we're trying to do is essentially give people a platform on which their content can be amplified.
So
and more than that, sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say, where do you see those influencers and creators in Trendiis plans? Where do they come into the picture?
Yeah, I mean, look, we're working with some amazing influencers and creators right now. So there's so we've got a few in Melbourne that we work with, and there are some great ones like Carla Conlin we're working with, El Archambault, who we've been working with recently, who are amazing. They're they're really supportive of the vision and the journey that we're trying to go on as well, which is amazing. We also have some others writing blog content with us at the moment, so you can check out our blog.trendii.com. But what we want to do is, rather than talk about a product and get people buying a product, we want to talk about the movement towards a behavior change. Because we are still very mindful that people search in their millions every minute. So there's a huge amount of change that needs to be done. And ultimately what we want to do is put them at the center of the conversation. Because let's be honest, it's their content that people want to shop from. It's not, we're not creating the looks. The looks are being created by them. All we're doing is making them shoppable. So putting them at the center of it all is really where we see the future of the product.
So I guess is the focus on influencers and celebrities, or is it something more that me as an individual could use, or your target market could use?
Yeah, I mean, look, influencers and celebrities drive fashion choices, right?
Yeah.
So they are the driving force behind fashion. I think everyone will agree with that.
Yep.
The future of Trendii is empowering digital publishers to make better content, to engage with consumers better, to drive meaningful engagement through content, and actually drive consumers to transact products they want to buy from brands they want to buy them from, as opposed to consumers doing what they're doing now, which is searching for deals, discounts, offers, and discounts, sales, and ultimately ending up with perhaps inferior products from brands that are struggling.
Yeah.
We want to effectively create higher value customers for retailers by making shoppable experiences from the content that's inspiring the consumers to shop. But I guess to answer your question, look, the celebrities and the influencers are what drives all of this.
Yeah.
So it's their content that really makes the experience for the consumer.
And then I guess the other side of the fence is the brand. So what are the brands doing these days to attract customers, and where does Trendii play a part in that journey?
Yeah, I mean, look, that's a really good question. There are lots of really clever people out there doing some amazing things, to acquire customers. I mean, a lot of really innovative companies coming out of Melbourne doing some really clever growth hacks and sort of, digital strategy to acquire. To acquire. I was talking with Country Road this afternoon. They're doing some great stuff, online. A lot of it comes down to third-party data, though. And sort of, retargeting and sort of understanding consumers' interests and then using that as a way of targeting. And unfortunately, we're moving towards a world without cookies, right? So brands are currently able to leverage cookies to use those to target people they know have looked at specific products. What we're doing is we're saying, well, look, if there is someone on your website, they're interested in a product, but how do you get them to your website first, right? How do you get them there? So you've got to pay money, you've got to acquire, and acquiring new customers is always more expensive than acquiring people that have been to your site and actually had an experience. So what we've built is a contextual product that allows brands to put their products in context through programmatic advertising. So rather than using the third-party data and actually using behavioral data, which will also disappear, they're able to say, well, we don't mind who you are. You can be a man, a woman, old, young, doesn't matter. If you're looking at this image, the likelihood is that you're interested in what's going on in that image. You're interested in what's happening on the page. You're interested in what's going on that website and that brand and what's going on there. So what we said is, well, let's put their products next to those images. So those images are still driving the conversation. They're still getting people engaged with the products. But what we're now doing is providing a better advertising experience for the consumer, which will lead to a better engagement with the adverts, and then ultimately higher value customers for the retailer. So that's sort of where we're driving this.
Yeah, and you mentioned data in there, and of course, when it comes to customer data, there's always privacy concerns, or at least consideration around privacy. So how do the privacy changes going to affect the retail industry moving forward? And you touched on a little bit of that, but is there anything else that worth mentioning here?
Well, look, first-party data will be key. I think retailers are going to do a whole heap of work to try and get more from their first-party data. So that's going to mean sign-ups, sign up forms, join this, allow that. And I think that's just going to probably drive consumers mad. I don't think it's really going to be, the right thing there. The reality is retailers should not be focused on how they can market their brand. They should be focusing on creating good products. That's my opinion, right?
Sure.
I believe that if you create a really, really good product, you shouldn't need to buy advertising. The advertising should be just a simple way of getting the product into market to allow people to know it exists. So what we're effectively moving towards is saying, well, look, rather than you doing deals, discounts, and offers, and then trying to get millions of people to your site to then be able to get first-party data from them, run a contextual ad, and that way they're seeing your products for what they are. They're buying them because they want to buy them because it looks like the look of the person they want to shop from.
Sure.
And now they're able to go through to the retailer and they can buy it. And then you don't need the first-party data because they're buying the product because they want it, not because you've given them a 50% off voucher or deal or whatever it happens to be.
Sure.
Not to say there isn't a place for sales. I mean, look, sales are sales. But I remember when I was a kid, I mean, I'm only, 38, but when I was a kid, it was a once a year thing. You'd go to the Harrods sale on Boxing Day and that was it. It was once a year. Now it's every day, it doesn't, it's kind of consumers are numb to it. Yeah. And I think moving towards something more meaningful for the consumer and treating them not like an idiot, saying, 20% off, 30% off. Well, do they believe it? I'm not sure they do.
Yeah.
I think giving them something a bit better than that will work really well. So, yeah.
I guess there's a bit of desensitization around that word sale because, like you said, you see it everywhere. It's not
exactly
a yearly event.
Exactly. And consumers aren't spending necessarily any more now than they were just because there are sales. But what's happened is the margins have dropped and the time it takes to get a return has increased.
Yep.
So you look at a brand, they'll spend $100,000 and they'll generate $300,000 in sales, but they'll only make $30,000 in margin. So they've effectively lost 70 running a campaign. And you sort of say to them, well, hang on a second, why are you doing this? And it's okay, we've got these customers, they're now ours, we can do whatever we want. There's no brand loyalty. They've come to your site for a deal. They haven't come to your site because of the value of your product. So, you've then got to continually feed the beast with these deals and discounts or you lose them.
Yeah.
And you've only got to look at the brands that have gone out of business. I mean, there's too many to mention, but no one really cares afterwards. Like you look at it and it's like that sort of thing has to change, I think. And I think, it's only going to mean, it's only going to mean difficult things for the industry if we don't do something about it. But I mean, look, speaking quite passionately about it, I don't like seeing anyone go out of business, especially not during a global pandemic. But I think part of the issue is a burying your head in the sand mentality. I think if brands don't get their head out of the sand and start looking at what they're trying to do and what the products mean, you ask consumers, they don't want cheap. They want ethically sourced. They want high value, high quality. They want sustainable. That's not cheap. It doesn't need to be cheap, and they don't need to buy lots of it, and they'll spend more for it. So, why not look at a different way to try and attract them as well, which is sort of what we're trying to do.
You touched on the pandemic, and it's probably something that's unavoidable in most conversations these days. But just
hang on a second. Who had 30 minutes for COVID conversation? Come on, someone's
I know.
Surely.
I know. I was curious. I'm really curious. Have you seen a change in behaviour from your trendy customers, the ones you've got now, and just more broadly, what has COVID changed, and what might it mean for the future?
Yeah, look, it's
inevitable.
COVID has unfortunately affected a lot more companies than ours, and I kind of feel quite bad because we're in a pretty good position in the sense that we're an e-commerce business. Sure. But there are unfortunately a lot of companies much more worse off than ours at the moment, which is really real shame. And I wish them the best, and I hope that they all sort of come out of this well at the end. But for us, fashion isn't really front and center at the moment. Obviously there's no celebrities going to events. There's no celebrities in public really.
Yeah.
So obviously from our perspective, what people are searching for has changed somewhat. And it's moved more into activewear, it's moved more into loungewear, and basically what can you wear walking around the house?
Yeah.
Comfortable clothing wear. So we're like, it's okay. That's what it is. But it doesn't stop people, trendying Taylor Swift every 5 minutes,
yeah.
And seeing what Hailey Bieber's wearing in an airport somewhere. I've no doubt that it will come back, and I hope it comes back sooner rather than later because It's the brands and the designers. They're the ones that really need the support and help right now, because they're the ones that, you know, create the amazing products that we wear.
Yeah.
And yeah, so hopefully we can sort of get through this and sort of come out the other side.
Now, of course, we're in a sports tech accelerator program through Startup Bootcamp. Touch on sports fashion if we could.
Sure.
You mentioned activewear. There's been an emergence in that space. Are you seeing that replicated or coming through your Trendii as a?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, look, from our end, one of the biggest sellers at the moment is women's running trainers, right? I mean, various different brands, but the women's running trainers are the highest sellers, certainly over the last 3 months. And that is not surprising, really. I mean, given all you're allowed to do is leave your house and go for a walk. Sure. I think it kind of makes sense that that's what you'd want to wear when you're doing it. So, I guess, you know, the activewear trend is absolutely remarkable. I mean, that out of absolutely nowhere almost exploded. Maybe sort of 8-9 years ago, it really started to come in. It's come in so much that there's now white label activewear brand generating software kits that you can use to create your own activewear label from a white label, you know, fashion house. It's crazy. So there's like this whole thing that's now happening. And, you know, we've got some amazing ones in Melbourne. We've got some amazing brands, you know, Jagged, you know, huge opportunity, you know, over the last, they've taken a huge market share. They've grown dramatically. And there's a lot of others as well, which are doing really, really well. So, but you know, for us, we're brand agnostic. We will offer, you know, whatever matches the look you're looking for, and obviously what matches the style that you're after at the price point that suits you.
Cool. I just wanted to call out for everyone listening in, the question and answer, the Q&A portal is working. So jump on. Some people are starting to push through some questions, which is great. And I'm going to jump to those now, Aaron, if you don't mind. Let's get those. So the first one is an interesting one. Can I take an image of someone's outfit at a festival and use Trendii to see where to buy the clothes?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what, you know, that's what Trendii is all about. The idea is that it doesn't necessarily need to be an image online. Who's the question asked for, by the way?
I don't have a name for that particular question.
You don't have a name? That's all right. Well, look, thank you very much for your question, whoever you are. Absolutely. Yeah, look, festival outfits are a real reason for Trendii existing. One of the things that we've had a lot of from conversations with our users and also people before we built Trendii was I go to Coachella and I love what everyone's wearing, but I can't find it, and I hope that someone posts something somewhere, and I'm going to try and figure out where from what I've seen, and it's all a bit tricky. And we're like, well, sure, here's Trendii the image, you know, take a photo and Trendii it, you know, immediately on the fly. We're actually launching something even better than that. It's you know, a bit top secret, but it will basically allow you to do it without taking the photo. So yeah, we'll let you know when that comes out.
Yeah, nice one. And the second question we got from Kieran Black, which is in a similar vein, from Vita Health and Wellness. Is it limited solely to celebrities? So will your AI instance pick up someone that wants the same clothing as someone they saw out?
Well, thanks for the question, Kieran. Really appreciate you logging in and taking the time to watch us today. It doesn't need to be a celebrity. It could be anybody. I mean, the reality is, as long as it's more or less a clear photograph, like you couldn't zoom in on someone's shoulder on a tram and hope that you're going to be able to figure out the outfit they're wearing. But as long as you can get the photograph of them, asking their permission first, of course, yeah, it will work on any look from anywhere.
Yeah, cool. Just on that, I'm keen to hear what are some of the more unique things you've seen people search for on Trendii?
We've had some interesting things come through. I think the two most interesting in the last 2 months we've had Disney princesses. Mm-hmm. That's been quite cool. My kids certainly love that one.
My daughters would have done that in the past.
It was quite interesting. I mean, how do you dress like a Disney princess? You Trendii Belle from Beauty and the Beast, right? So that was quite cool. The other one was the A-Team. Someone Trendii'd Hannibal and bought the jacket of Hannibal from the A-Team. So I thought, well, why not, right? If you want to get a look from the A-Team, Trendii image, and away you go.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to imagine what I remember that jacket.
It's beige jacket. I mean, it's pretty stylish. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, if you're going to dress like anyone, it's going to be Hannibal. I don't know if you could get away with B.A. Baracus, although you do have the shaved head. So I think you could. you could kind of create this mohawk bit there. I've got, unfortunately, a bit too much hair going on here or whatever. Anyway.
Probably. Does it search jewelry then?
Search jewelry, no, it doesn't. Not right now. Not right now. No, you can't get no big medallions.
Okay.
It won't work. But soon enough it will.
Put it on the backlog. Put it on the backlog.
Exactly right. Yeah, add it to the list.
So A-Team is interesting. What are some of the other ways you've seen people use Trendy? What surprised you perhaps in the way people have been using Trendy?
Well, you know what's really interesting? That's a really good question. What's really interesting is that we've had a load of people use it on Pinterest. And Pinterest is one of the most remarkable businesses. I love Pinterest, right? I love the concept of, firstly, the name is just one of the most brilliant names.
Clever, isn't it? Yeah.
I think it's fantastic, right? I love it. And I love what it does, love what it's all about. But it's sort of one of these businesses that has created a really, really good rabbit warren that you kind of get lost in. And you create this world and you're in this wonderful world, but there's a frustration of all the users, some of the users that we've talked to, certainly, where they just want to be able to buy something. Of course, the challenge that brands like Pinterest have is they're all about share of attention, right? They're all about getting people on the platform, using it for a long period of time and seeing how long they can keep them on the platform. And obviously sell advertising and sell them things and so on and so forth. And they've got some really clever retail strategies that they're working on, but they don't want to get people in and get them out. Trendii is all about helping you get to the product quickly and then move you on. We're not trying to create this huge platform with long dwell time and all these other things. We're just trying to get you to a product you want to buy as quickly as possible. So if you stick around, great, but you know, that's not our focus.
Sure. And what's next for Trendii? You've been out in the market for a few months. Well, tell us a little bit about the journey you've been on. Been out in the market for a little bit now. What's next for the 12 to 18 month mark for Trendii?
I mean, look, it's been a to be honest with you, COVID punched us in the face a little bit. I mean, obviously launching a fashion technology startup during a global pandemic is not advisable. I mean, I'd recommend no one do it again, ever. But look, I mean, like I said, there's others who have unfortunately suffered more. So we've got to be grateful that we're, still here and punching. Sure. But what it kind of proved is that we're, resilient, resourceful, hardworking. We've got a strong team, lots of really passionate people that believe in the future, not just the now. We were able to pivot a little, and we've created a really, really strong and compelling marketing proposition in the contextual advertising play. But our journey has been an interesting one. I launched a business in 2011, my first company, and unfortunately there was challenges with that, and I unfortunately had to leave that in 2018, and that was partly my choice, partly the shareholders' choice, and there was a few things that we sort of had to agree on at that time. But what it taught me was what to do, but also what not to do. There was lots of really good strengths that I had, lots of things that I had that I was really, really good at, but things that I wasn't very good at. And what I wanted to do is make sure that if I was going to do this again, which I was pretty adamant I was going to, that I wanted to do it properly. So part of the reason why I joined the boot camp is because I wanted to forget everything I knew, and I wanted to be, I'm new to this, never done it before. I'm not going to assume that I know everything. I want to be humble, or as humble as I can be, and I want to really, really learn as I go. Sure. So I joined the boot camp, and I just wanted to be a sponge, pick up as much information as I could, really, really learn. And I feel like we've got something really meaningful and investable now, something that people can actually, get behind and sort of be part of. And yeah, look, I'm thankful that we've got such amazing support around us.
Yeah, that's great. What would be some of those key takeaways from the program that you can really build on?
Look, I mean, how to put together a business plan, how to put together a financial model, how to put together, I mean, there's heaps. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't know where to start. The whole structure of running a company is something that was fairly new to me. I had no formal business planning, no formal business training. I mean, look, I've got a lot of tenacity, and frankly, for running a business, that's 99%. But to succeed, you've got to be the 1%. And that 1% is where, I felt like I lacked, and just that education, that ability to learn on the job whilst building my business and actually growing the company was hugely beneficial. And getting to meet great people like yourself. I mean, be honest. Yeah, look, I mean, our paths may not have crossed. I've got some incredible mentors. Some shout outs to the likes of, Phil Halbish, Anna Weisenfeld, Matt Crook, a whole heap of people around the business that we're working with that are doing some incredible things. And were it not for them, we wouldn't be where we are. So, and you obviously shout out to my co-founder as well, Ivan. If you're watching, you're a legend. Keep doing the good things.
Had a couple of conversations with Ivan. Hey, we've got some more questions coming through. We've got about 5 minutes, so I'll get to these questions. A couple from Carla Conlon. So
hello, Carla.
Can you browse images on Trendii, or does it only work on images you upload yourself?
So that's a great question. Thanks for coming, Carla. I really appreciate that. So one of the main features we knew people wanted was the ability to actually search for celebrities and actually be inspired. Obviously, if you're waiting for inspiration, you're only able to use Trendii when you're inspired. You have to then remember that you have Trendii as a technology. So what we wanted to do is say, well, look, if you know the celebrities you like, you can go to Trendii, you can search for the look, and then you can search for a celebrity or an occasion or something, and it will bring up a whole heap of inspiration, and then you can select the look you like, and then discover fashion with it.
Cool. And the
great question, Carla. Thank you.
She's got another great one here as well.
Really?
Does Trendii remember the images you've searched?
Yes, it does. That's a great question. Well, look, what we want to do is create an experience built for you by you, right? So the more you use Trendii, the cleverer it gets. The more it remembers what you're doing, it understands your interests, your behaviors, images you upload, and so on and so forth. So if you uploaded a picture of Kate Middleton, Trendii will then recommend lots of other pictures of Kate Middleton. If you uploaded a picture of a denim jacket, it will show lots of other pictures of people wearing denim jackets, because it's, well, okay, you're interested in this, we're going to show you more of this. But I guess the great thing about it is it's not necessarily showing you the products, it's showing you the looks and the styles. So you're always able to get the price that suits you.
Yeah, cool.
So,
that personalized experience.
Well, personalization is the future of retail, I believe, anyway. And I think you only have to look at the likes of Amazon and all the others that are really big in this space, and they're creating these personalized experiences for everyone that goes to their platform. Sure. So Trendii may not necessarily be the head of the curve there, but we're certainly in the what do you call it? The world of whatever it is. I don't know what it's called. The ocean or something. We're doing the same thing as others in that space. And that for us really is key, I think, to the success of what we're trying to build, because ultimately the content is king, and the content is what gets the consumers engaging, and the content is what drives the behavior. But the reality is, if you don't give the consumer what they want, then they're not going to use your product, and the content's irrelevant. So we want to make it as personalized and as interesting for each person individually as we possibly can.
Sure. Another question from Kieran Black, who asked a question before from Vita Health and Wellness. Well, just wondering if you have any other major companies that are doing the same thing.
Well, it depends on what bit you want to look at. Thanks for the question again, Kieran. So there is lots of visual search. I mean, visual search is not something new. There is lots of product aggregators out there, so that's not something new. There is a lot of contextual technology that kind of allows you to, target based on context. So that's not necessarily new. I guess what Trendii's doing is it's bringing it all together and putting it all into a way that sort of allows the consumer to get from a variety of different ways the products at the point of inspiration, using either engaging with the ads or engaging using the browser extension when they're inspired and they can take that step, or even the app on social media. But look, I mean, the likes of Google, the likes of Pinterest, they've all got a visual search technology. So I guess it's vindicates the fact that there's a demand from their audiences and, consumers.
Yeah, it kind of ties in with that, I think you said the 62% of shoppers, shop from visual images.
Well, they want to be able to. I mean, we believe that it could, the reality is if it was more widely available and worked better, we believe more people would do it. I mean, one of the limitations with Google is kind of doing everything for everyone, and therefore they're not really picking a lane. Sure. They're saying, oh, we can find you a car and a tree and a house, but we're not going to be very specific on the types of jacket you're looking at. Yeah. So what Trendii's able to do is take it a step further, specifically from the fashion space. We can go short sleeve, long sleeve, V-neck, denim, leather, whatever, right? So we're able to take it just that step further and make it just a little bit more specific for the fashion.
Yeah, makes sense. Another question on a simpler note, and this is from Nikita Lambda from SBC.
Hello,
Is there a story behind the two eyes in the name versus a single eye?
Yeah, I mean, I had someone very interesting the other day told me a story that they thought that came from the fact that my name has two A's and therefore I wanted it to have two eyes. That's not true. The name Trendii took, not going to lie, about 3 months. Right, we were thinking we had a whole heap of different names. There were names I can't even remember some. It was just such a painful experience trying to create the name. But what we wanted it to be is we wanted it to be edgy. We wanted it to be different. We wanted it to mean what it said. But then it couldn't be correct. It had to be incorrect. And what I meant by that is it had to be something that was intentionally not the norm, not the way it should be. And that's really what we're trying to drive with Trendii. The idea that you're doing something this way now, but something which isn't the norm is going to change it. And that's really where we see Trendii. In addition to that, what's quite nice about it is it actually looks like two people connecting. So that's a nice thing.
No, it does, and it's a catchy word, like you said.
Yeah,
and it's contextualized to the type of people industry that you're in. So
yeah, right. Well, yeah. I mean, it's a nice word, and I think it rolls off the tongue quite well. So yeah, happy with it.
Got a 5 minutes warning, so we're just going to start to wrap things up, Aaron. Just in closing, talked about a lot of things today. Where you're headed, where you've been. Some of the industry trends, some of the fashion that you're seeing. What are some of the closing comments for people listening in? You talked about, investors, partners, continuing that journey. Is there something you want to sort of close in on in the last few minutes?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think it's important for us to kind of be clear on what our sort of vision and our mission is, right? We want to effectively make everything shoppable so consumers can engage with products, right? Trendii is an AI-powered fashion discovery business, allows you to shop from the point of inspiration, right? That's what we do, right? But why we're doing it is because we believe that content should be of higher value than just simply images on a page, right? We believe that products should be of a higher value and shouldn't be discounted just to try and acquire customers. We really do believe that we should live in a world where products should be sold for what they're worth. We believe that digital publishers should have higher value revenue from their content. And we believe that it should be seamless to connect all three. The consumer of the content, the consumer of the products, and should be able to engage in one ecosystem. And we believe that through Trendii, we'll be able to create a much more valuable ecosystem. It won't be so dog eat dog and so aggressive race to the bottom. It can be much more around what is the content, what does it look like, what's engaging, what's working, and then trying to create products that have a higher value that mean more for the consumers consuming them, I suppose.
Yeah. And you talked about, democratizing, or it's almost democratizing the data, being the brands with the customers and the customers with the brands, and potentially opening up channels for brands to address new channel or new customers, new segments potentially.
Well, exactly. I mean, the thing with it is, the consumer wants what the consumer wants. They don't really have a whole lot of brand loyalty right now, but we kind of want to change that. We want to help brands get more brand loyalty by providing better value, higher quality products.
Yep.
And that's okay. Look, that's going to take time, and I think consumers will be a little bit more towards that in future. But for now, we're focused on just getting our business into market and helping retailers attract higher value customers. And when we're already 50% over market average on our average order value, so we're onto something there. So at least we can do that for you as a retailer, but hopefully we can do a lot more down the track.
Yeah, no, sounds great. Look, in the last couple of minutes, so I just want to firstly congratulate you. It's been a pleasure working closely with you through this program, and I love what you guys are doing at Trendii. I think you've got a great future ahead of you. It's really exciting to see how you guys have participated in the program and brought a lot of energy to the program. Not that it needed much more, but you certainly brought in a lot of energy, and it sort of comes across in the pitch today and in this Q&A. So look, appreciate the time you spent today, Aaron. Look forward to see where Trendii goes. I might even jump on and try and find that Hannibal Jack.
Yeah, upload. No, I really appreciate that. Thanks so much, Adam. It's been great. Really appreciate it.
No problems at all. So look, thanks for everyone for listening in. By all means, get in touch with Aaron. Get in download Trendii. Have a look. It's fantastic.
Trendii.com. Check it out.
Great.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Thanks very much, everybody.
Aaron. Thanks, everyone. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.